Mert Arslan!
Yeah, boy.
Welcome to the studio.
Thanks, man. Nice to be here. How are you doing?
Veldig bra. Veldig bra. Hvilket språk har du lyst til å kjøre på?
Vet du hva? Engelsken min er ganske fattig. Vi kan snakke engelsk, eller du bestemmer egentlig. Vi kan prøve begge. Vi kan ha en god blanding.
En god blanding.
Ja.
Fordi det er det som var gøy.
Ja, absolutt. Du husker jo at engelsken har knekt. Vi sto jo på stand-up på engelsk på Samfunnet forrige uke.
Det var ikke så ille. Engelsken din var ikke så ille. Men for å være helt ærlig, I never want to lie to you, bro.
Yeah.
I was mostly spending the time when you were on stage trying to tie people up with cable ties. So I didn't hear shit.
Yeah, I'm glad for that, but because if you listen to me speak English now, it's like I've never been to an English-speaking country before.
Oh, really?
No, I haven't been in a country where they speak English before.
Oh, they don't let you in.
Mostly because of that, but I didn't want to either, man. It's like one night stand you didn't get, you know what I mean? It's like, I didn't want it anyways, bitch.
yeah, that's exactly it. Holy shit. So, but I would have thought that, like, being so, you know, in Europe and everything, that at least a little trip to England.
No, I've never been in England or USA before. I've been to Poland and Germany.
Yeah.
But they don't speak English there either.
No.
So I learned English in Norway. So that's why I'm speaking like a Norwegian.
That's why I have the Norwegian English.
Yeah, that's why I have the English Norwegian English.
Norwegian English is good though, man. It's I think like it's pretty high level. Like your English is better than you think.
Yeah, that's what I think also. But the way I speak is not the way I imagined I would speak. If you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean.
Like you never speak English, but you know English, but you never speak it. So you think you have the accent because in your mind you speak like a British guy.
Yeah. You're like in your mind you're 007.
Yeah.
But in reality,
I'm like, would you like a cup of tea, my doll? The second I open my mouth, it's like, what are you doing tomorrow? Like I just can't speak like that.
You got that immigrant English.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but the second I start to speak English, I become like most stereotypical black guy in America.
Yeah, you got that hood English. You got that
because I learned English from films, and I watch Eddie Murphy, I watch Dave Chappelle, and I watch Cat Williams all the time. So
they're the best.
So that's the English I learned.
Yeah.
So I'm talking like one of
You're talking like one of these black superstars. Damn, but you know, if you have to choose an English accent, you know, I don't know whether they like deliberately do this. If they say choose an accent, English or American, don't go with the English accent. Don't go with the British accent. It sounds so fucking, you know, when a Norwegian person...
it sounds so friendly fake.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Hello. You know, I know...
Hello, mate.
I got a few Norwegian friends. And I studied in England. I studied abroad. I was at Cambridge. Like, shut the fuck up.
Cambridge this balls.
Cambridge this dick bit. But, you know, like, there is this Norwegian kind of student who goes overseas, lives somewhere for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and they come back sounding more local than somebody like people that go to Australia and study in Australia for a year or 2 years. I meet them, they're like, "G'day, mate. Oh, what's your name? It's Inia. Oh, shit, nice to meet you, cunt." I'm like, "Fucking hell, bro.
Yeah,
where do you come from?" But they really adopt that language and then they never lose it. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's very cool too. But I think it has something to do with the way people speak Norwegian too, because they don't have the thick accent or they don't have a very special way to speak. So when they go abroad to study, they learn the language and they can copy it exactly the way it has been spoken, because they don't have a special way to speak.
That's a good insight.
That's why Iranians can speak English or Norwegian. You know, they have a specific way to talk.
Yeah, they're so deep into that. How do Iranian people talk English?
Yeah, I cannot do that.
They might find you. Don't
make
fun of our accent. No women's rights. No making fun of accent.
They might find one of us, so I can make fun of them.
No.
Because they're dangerous people, man. I remember I was on TikTok and I uploaded a video. And you know, I'm Muslim, so and it's Ramadan now. I'm fasting and I'm praying 5 times a day, and you know, I'm a good Muslim, or I like to think so.
Yeah.
So I was at the show and I I was talking to a guy, and all of a sudden I just said, yeah, I feel like I'm the only Muslim here, but I'm scared of you guys. Like it was just like just like in like small joke, you know. And there was a guy in the audience just was like, yeah, I'm Muslim too. And I was like, oh really, are you the good one or the bad one? You know, I just said that, and everybody laughed, and we had a good time. But I uploaded on TikTok, and there was some Iranian 14-year-old guy. I don't know how old he was. He was like, yeah bro, be careful. And I was like, what the be careful. And that was a whole sentence. I was like, what the fuck? What are you going to do, man?
Yeah,
Yeah, be
because you didn't
careful,
say
bro.
you didn't say anything bad. You didn't like nothing that anybody should be writing. Be careful. Oh, is he just trolling? Is he just saying like fucking be careful, bro? But you know, he ain't
Yeah,
gonna do
but
shit.
I got a lot of them when I uploaded the videos. There
You
was
got a lot of them?
Yeah.
Not just one comment saying
No,
be
maybe
careful.
maybe hundreds.
100 comments from
Yeah.
Iranian people
Not
telling
Iranian people, but mostly foreigner, mostly the like Muslim community on TikTok.
they told you to be careful.
Now some of them told me like, be careful, bro. It's dangerous out here, you know.
Like you should be careful of them.
Yeah.
Like they were warning you, or they're like,
Yeah. And it sounds more like a warning or threat than like advice, if you know what I mean.
or they're like, be careful, man. It's getting slippery.
Yeah, it was not like, man, be careful. It was like,
love you,
yo,
be careful."
Be careful. It's dangerous out here.
Okay.
So it was a little bit
shit.
scary, man. Yeah.
So did you delete the video?
No, it's up there still.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
So
that's
I didn't
good.
got beat up, so I'm glad.
Can you joke about Islam? Can you joke about Muslims?
You
Will
know,
they
I-
go after you? What's the deal?
No, I don't think they will go after me, but I will be honest. It's not easy to joke about Islam
No,
or Muslims. It's a fact. They don't want it, and I think it's pretty fair if you ask me. But I don't make jokes about Islam. If you know, I'm just talking to Muslims.
I get it. You know what I think
It's not
is
the same.
You know what I think is funny about that? And
Yeah.
I know so many Muslim people, and they are fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's
Like they have such a. I mean, at least these guys that I'm friends with, like their sense of humor is insane. Like they're making jokes all the time. So for
Yeah, did you see Arab TikTok is the most hilarious thing I have ever seen.
Yeah, so I don't understand like why you know what I mean? Like it seems to be like there seems to be like a bit of a gap between like doing comedy and how funny so many people are in that culture.
Yeah, but I think it has something to do with the culture too, because you know, it's like Italian gangsters, Italian mafia. They're like, okay,
Dude, just
we can kill ourselves if we want. I can kill my brother, but I don't want you to touch my brother, if you know what I mean.
I get you.
They're like, oh, it's family. We can do it to us, but no one from the outside. If you go to Iran or Turkey or Kurdistan, it's like they're mocking the leaders all the time, and they speak about Islamic leaders all the time and calling them pedophiles and all this shit. And it's their right to speak about that. But the second some foreigner country does the same, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
bring it up, bro.
Yeah, I got you. It's like how you can make fun of yourself and your family, but you be careful if anybody else does.
Yeah, I think it's part of the culture. That's why they do it.
Yeah, shit. Are there any like huge Arab or Muslim comedians?
Dave Chappelle is Muslim, man.
Is Dave Chappelle Muslim?
Yeah, he became Muslim when he was 17.
Really?
Yeah, I think I heard when he was on David Letterman.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. He talked about a shop when he was 17. Then there was some Muslim guys working there, and he asked them some questions, and he thought that they was so passionate about it that he became Muslim afterwards.
Okay.
So, but he's not. He says it himself. He's not a good Muslim, but he believes in Allah and
Yeah, okay.
and Islam. So
Shit.
he's a Muslim.
Did you got one? The Muslim team, they got the goat.
Yeah, we got the good ones, man.
Yeah.
We got
shit.
Muhammad Ali too, bro.
Yeah, and Tupac.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, but
Isn't Tupac a Shakur?
but the black community in USA is like becoming more Muslim than they have ever been before. Like if you have heard Malcolm, the whole history about Malcolm X and the what was it again, the Brotherhood. I don't.
The Brotherhood of
Elijah.
Islam?
Yeah, Muhammad Elijah. If you have heard of him. No, he was a Muslim, and he lost it afterwards. He just began to say that Islam is for the black people in America, and he used the religion to make a statement and to become grower and make a community. And Malcolm X became one of the spokesman when he was in jail. He became Muslim, and he began to talk about those stuff. But the second he was in Mecca to do pilgrim, that's then he understood that Islam is not for black people only; it's like for everyone.
Yeah.
And the second he got back to America, he started to tell the people like, "Oh, Islam is not for the black people," and they shot him. So that's why he's dead. The Muhammad, I don't know what's the group called. But it's like something with brotherhood, and the leader was Muhammad Elijah. He said that he was a prophet sent from the gods, and Islam was for the black people in the USA.
Yeah, okay. Shit.
Did you never heard about "Take your hands out of my pockets"?
Nah.
No, because he was on tour in America.
What's his name again?
Malcolm X
Oh,
and Muhammad Elijah.
And Muhammad Elijah killed Malcolm X.
Muhammad Elijah is the leader. I don't think he killed him.
No, but he was
physically.
responsible for giving the order to kill Malcolm X.
Yeah, that's
Damn, I thought Malcolm X got killed by the police or some CIA operation.
no, it's not. It's not that, man. He started to become the opposite of what Muhammad Elijah was.
Okay, so Malcolm
learning
X
people.
got whacked
Yeah,
by...
Malcolm X got axed from.
He got axed
yeah.
because he was telling the black people not to go into the Muslim religion.
Yeah, because he was the spokesman for. He was the face of the whole group, and he made them grow bigger and bigger. You know how big Malcolm X was in his prime time.
Yeah.
So when he's going out again and says like, "Oh, I was wrong. Don't do that."
And then they go, "We gotta shut this motherfucker up."
Yeah, so they did some. Patrick O'Neill have a very, very, very funny joke about that, but he talks about like the second people become a hero, they shut them dead. So fuck that. I don't want to see peace. You're not going to see me talk about peace. No. Fuck white people. So
Yeah.
So,
but you're right. When people start becoming really big and people start really following them, and when they have like this massive message about like change and what you should do with your life, you just get a target on your back. Yeah. And that shit goes back forever. Like Jesus and all these people throughout history as well that like, this guy, he's got too much power. We got to fucking ice him.
Yeah, they do it all the time. And the thing with Malcolm X was they distracted the whole group because he was a salesman, so he was out on tour and speaking to black people all the time. So when he was in another city and was on stage, there was two guys. They just stood up, and one of them was like, "Get your hands out of my pocket," and distracted the whole group. So everybody turned to this group when they said, "Take your hand out of my pocket." So no one was looking at Malcolm X. So that's when they shot him dead, and nobody knows who it was.
Nah, of course not. But they blame, or that group took responsibility?
No, they didn't. No one took responsibility.
So we don't really know.
No,
whether
we
it
don't
was
really
that guy,
know.
But it's just okay.
Yeah, but
we know.
It's like O.J. Simpson didn't do it.
Yeah,
but he.
Yeah,
it was like Laila Bertheussen.
Yeah,
if you remember that case.
Nah, but whenever I think of stuff like that, whenever I hear things like that, I just always somehow think the CIA is involved.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
More involved than you have, no, man.
That's what I think, and it's like, you know what? If they arrested that guy and if he claimed that I did it, or if the Brotherhood went out and said we put the hit out on Malcolm X, even then I would still think somehow the CIA kind of might have manipulated the situation, or I feel like they do so much sneaky shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they manipulated the whole situation because it wouldn't be that hard to find who shot Malcolm X.
Nah, man, it wouldn't be that hard at all.
And it's a documentary on Netflix. You can watch after whenever you want. But there's a guy who tries to find who really killed Malcolm X, and he finds like he's 99% sure who shot Malcolm X and why, and when they did it and why they did it and why police didn't do anything about it. So you should watch it, man. It's pretty nice documentary about it.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Damn. Yeah. You know, remember like when the Arab Springs happened? Like, you know, the Arab Springs?
Yeah, you talking about the Shah?
I don't know what
No.
Shah means, but
Okay.
it was like this uprising in like Egypt and Libya and like the northern
Yeah, it was
Africa.
like when was it?
It must have been like 2011, 2012.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know when you came to Norway. Or
Yeah, it was 2013.
okay, maybe it was
So
part of that shit. I don't know. Where did you come from?
I came from Turkey. I'm a Kurdish guy, so my family is from the Kurdish part of Turkey. It's like
Yeah.
near Syria.
Yeah, I
But
see.
I grew up in the Turkish part, Antalya, Alanya. It's like the
Do me a favor. Just pull that closer to your
Yeah.
face. Just,
like this.
yeah, almost
Okay.
so like you're gonna like
Okay.
just touch it every now and again. I know you worked in radio. You love it, mate. I'm
yeah,
not
I told you I was good at it.
Yeah, you
but
said
I'm
you were
not-
good
I'm
at
not.
it, but it's
Yeah.
natural. People just move backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So well, listen, the Arab Springs thing was like it was like these uprisings within like all of these countries. That's where they got you probably know this. It's where they got like Gaddafi and shit. You know?
Yeah, he was a badass man.
Yeah, they got him and they fucking ended up killing that guy, and all these people like revolted and
think
said
they
we gotta bring
showed-
them down.
I think they showed something up his ass and they just tortured him to his death.
Yeah, they stabbed him in the asshole. That's how much they fucking took that guy down.
Yeah.
But when I hear about stuff like that, and I know like people have revolutions, but that's when I always think maybe there's some fucking shit involved with like the CIA. They wanted him out just because America has such a history of manipulating foreign politics. You know, it's like they can't fucking leave it alone. You know what I mean? Like they draw up all these borders and they take people out of power and they put new people into power just because it serves their political interests.
Yeah, they do it all the time, man. It's Britain and the USA, especially Britain, is the reason why there is so much uproar in the Kurdish states in the
Because
Middle East.
the British are the people that created the map of the Middle East. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was almost like that because after the Second World War and the First World War, the Ottomans lost the war, and they had to make an arrangement with the Britons.
Yeah.
So they just cut the Kurdistan out of the order, and they just
So Kurdistan
they just
had
did
a
four parts.
So Kurdistan had a physical country.
No, it wasn't a physical. It was like Samis in Norway. They had their territories, but it wasn't shown on the map.
Gotcha.
Like everyone just knew it was.
Yeah.
It was these people, you know. It
Yeah.
was their area, but they just came and just like took it four part and just gave it to Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria.
Oh, wow. So they didn't acknowledge that this people should have their own country.
Yeah, they didn't do it.
Got you.
So that's why we were at war all the time.
Yeah, but you know, I think what you said now really helped me to understand the situation when you said it's like the Samis in Norway. Because the Sami people, I feel like they were like part of this bigger Lapland community that like occupied several countries.
Yeah.
Like along a horizontal line that went from Norway to Finland and across to Russia. Like, but they wanted to live above a certain parallel. And then they never really claimed any kind of independent country. Now they just got absorbed by all of these official states.
Yeah, they never claimed to have a state. They was just like, give us a permit to go freely and do our thing.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, that's a pretty fair thing to ask.
Yeah. It is interesting how people get fucked like that all around the world.
Aren't you from Australia, man?
Yeah, I'm from Australia, mate.
Yeah, you
I'm
have
from
you have a
fucking down under.
dark history too, don't you?
The darkest history. Australia really has the darkest history.
Yeah, but I
think.
don't read a lot of things. Well, what have you guys done?
Well, first of all,
What did your ancestors do?
Not my ancestors, bro. But what happened was they went down to Australia and then they claimed it for England. And how they claimed it legally is there was this law called terra nullius, which means no man's land. So they get down there, they see all of these like peaceful Aboriginal tribes people, and
they were black, right?
Yeah, they're black, and they don't really have a concept of property ownership and land ownership because they're a nomadic tribal people who are hunters and gatherers, and you know they don't want to deplete the resources of the land, and they move on and all that sort of stuff. So the English went down there and they go, fuck, look how big this place is. Dude, check out that beach. What's that thing? Oh, it's a koala. This we're going to claim for England. So then what they did was they like sent people down, a lot of prisoners, soldiers, stuff like that, and they exterminated all of the Aboriginal people.
Damn.
Yeah, they wiped them out, man.
That was
Hardcore
brutal.
wiped them out. And there's this island in Australia called Tasmania. And what they did was they kind of, it's not
Is
massive.
Tasmania real?
Yeah, it's real, bro.
Yeah, I just thought it was like cartoon.
Yeah, like the
from-
Tasmanian devil?
Tasmanian devil.
Yeah, that's real too.
Okay. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, these like British soldiers, they kind of basically lined up in a long row and they just walked across the whole state and then they shot every single Aboriginal they could find.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, how do you have the heart to do it, man? I don't know.
I know how they did that.
How?
Because they don't identify the Aboriginals as humans. They
Yeah.
call them others. And this process of othering people is prevalent in human society. And it was like the Jews and the Nazis and, you know, like the Tutu, in Rwanda, what do you call those guys? The Tutsis and the Hutus.
Tutsis
And
and,
people just, North Korea, South Korea, whatever. Whenever there's some kind of
just
conflict,
like otherism.
exactly. There's otherism. And what otherism is, it's a failure to identify with somebody who is slightly different or not you. It's just a different ethnic group or a different belief group. And like, you know what? This is a huge problem with human society and human history because this process of othering is what's responsible for the dehumanization and the extermination of like other human beings.
Yeah, they
Or
did it with the
rape and
Kurds too,
murder.
man.
Exactly.
They have done it with us too.
Yeah.
They tried to wipe us all out. Actually, I don't know. It was Gaddafi or someone else, but they used chemical weapons to wipe out like small villages in Kurdistan, and
Dude, yeah, I remember that.
I think it was 2010 or something, or like a little bit earlier maybe.
Yeah.
But it wasn't it was in 2000s.
Yeah.
They just had a chemical gas that smelled like apple,
Yeah.
and they just throw it on the villages, and the children began to go outside of the houses. They was like, "Oh, it smells like apple here, mom," and everybody gone out to smell why it was smelling like apples, and they all just died.
Yeah.
And after a few generations, they still suffer from it because they have destroyed their genes.
Oh wow! So it's a genetic problem that goes. Fuck, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, and they bombed like a lot of villages, and even in Turkey, we have lived in the same country in hundreds of years, and it's like pretty mixed country, and they all know each other. But even Turkish people don't know what Kurdish people really is, because I have been to Istanbul before. And I began to speak with some Turkish guy, and he was like, "Yeah, where are you from?" I was like, "I'm Turkey, I'm Kurdish." And he was like, "Are you Kurdish? Well, you look just like us. What the fuck?" And he was surprised because I looked a lot like him. Like I had black hair and Middle Eastern looking out, you know.
Yeah.
He just didn't know what Kurdish people really look like.
Nah. Man, I think that so many people don't know what the fuck's going on with other people, though. Like, it's so... I don't know anything about the Kurdish people. I don't know shit. I know very little about the Sami people. And it's, you know, like...
Yeah, but why would you know a lot of things about Kurdish people, too? You know, there wasn't a lot of people who knew about us before the ISIS.
Yeah.
After that war, then the world began to acknowledge who we really were.
Because the Kurds were fighting against ISIS.
Yeah. We were the front line. We was the main reason they didn't grow up to take all over the Middle East.
Yeah. So did ISIS try to attack Kurdistan and then the Kurdish people, and the Kurdish people like protected themselves, or did they go out and hunt them down, or how did that?
Yeah, it's like the both, because Kurdish people are very unique groups. The majority of them is Muslim, but they have their own religion. It's a religion called I don't know how they say it in English, but in Middle East we call them Zahidi,
Yep.
And they have their own, it's like a Kurdish religion. They have their own book on God and prophets, and it's like a old religion. They have their book and beliefs and all the stuff. And ISIS tried to wipe them out first because they were like, oh, they're not Muslim, so we have to wipe them out. And they're Kurdish, so
Yeah.
they had to step up and answer back. So it just became a thing. And the second someone from Middle East rose up and just tried to attack someone, they just choose Kurdish people first
Yeah.
because it's the easiest one to attack and easiest one to back up. Like, oh, they're Kurdish people. What else are we going to do? Like,
Yeah.
of course we're going to attack them.
Yeah. Shit, it's easy target.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy target.
Ah.
So Kurdish people started to answer back, and they started to win the war. But then came Turkish people, and they started to help ISIS, just so they could defeat the Kurdish army, and it was a lot of drama and all of that stuff.
Yeah, it does seem like it's a pretty destable part of the world.
Yeah, it is. I was very active in politics before, but I remember when I was like 16 or something. I became so active. Someone from the army in Syria contacted me when I was in Norway. They was like, "Yeah, we have got our eyes on you. There, you have pretty good political skills, and you're very smart and all that. Why don't you join the army in Syria and fight with the Kurds?" I was like, "Yeah, it's time to quit politics now."
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, fuck. I'm not going to Syria to fight in a war.
Dude, a lot of people went there though to fight in the war.
Yeah, but I support them 100%. We needed people to fight against ISIS. It was the only way.
Yeah.
It wasn't politics anymore.
But what was kind of interesting is that a lot of people went to fight with ISIS as well.
Yeah,
like
man.
that was interesting, and even like people from Norway and
Norwegian people,
Yeah.
like ethnical Norwegian white people, went to ISIS to fight with them.
Yeah.
And they had their own YouTube channel, man. ISIS. Did you know that?
I know it. That YouTube channel is dope. Have you seen the videos?
No, man.
Dude,
I don't have the balls to see.
Man, the production value of those videos,
they're good, man.
They are really good. They're shooting in 4K with like really good cameras, and the editing is on point. Like their video production guy for ISIS was really good.
No,
I'm talking like really good.
Yeah, I watched maybe one or two videos from them, and it looks pretty high quality. But did you ever look at the videos of them? They burned some people down, and it's on YouTube, or maybe I don't know. If it's still. But when they burn people, they just never move.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Because
I didn't know it before, but I read a history about it.
Because
story about it.
No, why?
That's because they do a lot of practice before. They just tell the prisoners, like, don't move. It's just like, we're just filming it. We're not going to burn you. And they do it all the time. Like, they just burn it a lot. And right before the fire comes to them, they just put it out.
Yeah.
So they build trust in the whole system. So they just never move because they just thinking, okay, they're just going to fire some stuff up. The fire is going to come near us, and they just put it out, and they're just doing it for production. And the last time they are doing it, they just do it for real.
Damn, I feel like I would have noticed that. You know what I mean? If it was me, and like, oh, now they're doing it for real. Don't they notice that they're on fire?
Yeah,
or are they so conditioned into thinking like, don't you feel you're fucking burning?
Yeah, you can feel it burning,
but they still sit still.
That's why because it takes maybe a couple of seconds before all your skin is burned up, and you don't feel the burn anymore.
Dude, I think you always feel it.
You always feel it?
I think so, man. I think if you're getting burned, you're going to feel that for fucking a long time.
Yeah, maybe.
I think so. The reason I say that is because I used to be a stuntman in Australia, and and I know people.
Feel it?
Yeah, and you feel it, and I know people that have done fire burns and people that have done fire burns where they've gotten burnt, and they fucking feel it, and they're not sitting still. They're like rolling around on the ground trying to put themselves out. Like it hurts.
I didn't watch the whole video, but until the fire came to them, they're just sitting still.
Yeah, until the fire comes
Yeah,
to
and
them. But then when
so-
the fire hits them, then
Yeah.
they fucking...
Yeah, I didn't watch the rest, but
You
when
dude,
the
watch the rest.
yeah, I don't have
moving.
the balls, man.
Dude,
I don't have the balls.
I seen ones where they're locked in a cage.
Oh,
They're locked in a cage, and then they... I shouldn't be saying this. they're locked in a cage, and then they set them on fire, and they are not sitting still. They're like fucking trying to kick that cage door down, man. And if you ever... You know when you hear these stories about like, oh, there's a mom, she had a superpower, she lifted the car up, and like she saved her baby from getting hit by the car.
Why don't you open the cage, bro?
that did not help at all. That did not work one little bit. No. Yeah, they're stuck in that cage, bro. They're burning.
Yeah, you're going to hear some Iranian 14-year-olds in your comments.
Be careful.
Yeah, be careful. Bro. Be careful. Yeah, they... Oh, damn, I don't know, man. You was a stuntman in Australia?
Yeah, but I was not a very good one.
You were not a very
No,
good
no,
one?
no, no.
No, how... what kind of movies did you play in?
Dude, I was in some dope movies. I was in a Superman movie.
No. What?
Yeah. I was in a
What did you
Superman. I played a guy in a... Well, first of all, when you're a
Guy number 5.
Guy number 5, basically. When you're a stuntman, you don't really play any kind of character.
that's
You
right.
just want to not show your face
Yeah.
as much as possible so you can work on the whole movie. So if you see a stunt person's face once, you
Yeah,
can't
it's
use
done.
that guy again. You're done.
that's right.
But if you like, that's why when you watch a lot of action movies, the bad guys are wearing masks and things over their faces.
Because they use a stuntman
The
all
same
the time.
stunt guy. You have the 5 stunt teams, and they're doing all the shots that are getting killed. So you don't need to get new people all the time. You have, okay, we got the stunt team and mask over the face. You get killed 3 times today. Tomorrow you're getting killed 5 times. Tomorrow, you know what I mean? And you get more money that way.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly. So I didn't play a character, but I was in a plane crash scene. So I was in a plane crash scene where like flying this plane, and there's some kind of terrorist attack, or Lex Luthor crashes the plane, and Lois Lane is on the plane.
It was the film with Lex Luthor.
Yeah, with Kevin Spacey.
Damn.
Yeah, and
Kevin Spacey, did he touch you?
oh no,
I wish.
no. But I kind of fucked up with Kevin Spacey.
Oh.
Yeah, a little bit, because there was a friend of mine that was doubling Kevin Spacey, and he was in the same costume and had his hair to look exactly like Kevin Spacey. And then and then I've been hanging out with him all day. I seen him during the day, and then I was walking to lunch, and I go, hey, I think it was John. And it wasn't John, it was Kevin Spacey. And he walked up and he looked at me and was like, oh, I'm sorry, man. Because the reputation with Kevin Spacey is that like he's kind of an asshole. And we got told not to talk to him or not to no eye contact.
Serious?
Yeah.
Fuck, what an asshole.
I think he's an asshole. Well, he's a piece of shit, you know, like he's cancelled
we
now.
found out he was actually a
he
piece
was
of shit,
actually
so
an
he was right.
asshole.
Yeah, he was right,
Yeah.
But I don't know why would you have so much ego that people are not allowed to look into your eyes? Like,
Yeah.
What is the problem with that?
Yeah, I just think that people end up kind of losing their grip on reality because they have such a different power dynamic over everybody else that they're working
that's
with.
right.
Like, you're the star, like you're the number one guy, and all these hundreds of people are just working around you. You're the guy that we're paying the millions to. You know, it gets to people's heads, man.
Yeah, they do it all the time, and it's this like the son of Arab sheikhs.
Yeah.
They lose it all the time. I watched this. I read it on internet one time. It was the son of a sheikh who was abroad in another country, and they was filming a documentary. And middle of the night, he would just woke up like 3 in the morning or something like that. He was like, "I want camels here." Like, I want some camels now. It's like 3 in the morning in another country, not in Middle East. They was like, we cannot get you a camel now. He was seriously was like, why can't you get me a camel 3 in the morning when I want it?
What do you want a camel for?
Yeah,
now,
what the
bro?
fuck are you going to do with a camel 3 in
son?
the morning, man?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Why don't you just go to
I
sleep?
want it. Get me the camel. I do.
Yeah,
I'll
but
get you.
they trip all the time. The son of it was Gaddafi, right? Gaddafi had a son.
Gaddafi?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah,
I think it was Gaddafi or no, maybe Saddam Hussein. Saddam had a son,
Hussein.
and he was the most psychotic people
Yeah.
I have ever heard. Did you hear stories about him?
Yeah, dude. I heard some stories. I think I had 2 sons, or at least 2 that were like Ibdi and Abdar or something like that.
Yeah, one of them was fucking crazy.
Yeah. Like they would get chicks and then just end up killing them and like feeding them to dogs and all kinds of whack shit.
Yeah, you know, the thing he liked most was just like doing some random torturing because he thought that was so funny because it just suddenly happened for no reason, and
Yeah.
he thought it was very fun. He used to go out and was like, okay, is it any weddings nearby me tonight?
Yeah.
So he would just
the
go to weddings
weddings.
and look at the woman who was about to getting married, and he was like, I want her tonight.
Yeah.
So they will just bring her, and he will just rape her and feed them to dogs.
You know who used to do that as well? That was an old...
The devil?
No, yeah, the devil. That was an old tradition in medieval England, I think, called primus noctus.
Yeah, they do it with the Irish people, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so. Where they would like take the bride on the first night of the wedding.
Yeah, they did it.
Yeah, I think there's a scene
Yeah.
about that in Braveheart.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I remember it
Yeah.
now. But they come back.
Yeah, I guessed so.
So they get to live.
Yeah, they get to live. But he just
Yeah, he
fucking
just
took it
fed
a
them
step
to
further.
dogs.
Yeah, he fed them to dogs. God, imagine being those dogs.
And he just one time he had a best friend. He just told the security guys like, get him to torture camber for 12 days. And why? He was like, because it's funny. You know, you just get tortured for no reason.
Yeah, that's a whack sense of humor, man. Holy shit, dude. Yeah, but that's 'cause you have too much power and everything just probably becomes.
Yeah, but the second you ask for something, it becomes, so you just lose your grip to reality.
Yeah. But that's what happens with people. That's the expression. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
I think the CIA or FBI they killed them
Yeah.
when they attacked the Middle East.
Yeah.
I don't remember when it was. They had a special group
Yeah.
to take him down.
Yeah, I bet they did, man. I bet they aced him. Because I remember, I don't know, I think that, but they used to have this like deck of cards. Remember they had the deck of cards and they had all the top
all the
level
faces.
Iraqi people. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a badass thing to like you playing card. Okay, who did you draw? Saddam.
Yeah, that's it. You got to get that guy. Damn, man. Yeah, there's so many like high level targets and shit like that.
Yeah,
Fuck,
they
bro.
do it all the time, man.
Yeah, they do it all the time, that shit.
He killed his father's security too, because his father told him like, you can do whatever you want. The only thing you're not allowed to do is kill that guy because I like him very much. He's a good friend of mine.
Mm.
And just because his father said that, he just killed that man.
Yeah.
And he was so afraid of his father, he went home and took a lot of pills to kill himself.
Mm.
But they found him at home, like bubbles coming out of his mouth, and they just took him to hospital
Yeah.
to save him, and they saved him. But even he was in coma, his father came and he beat the shit out of him when he was in coma.
Yeah.
So they're a sick family, man.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. You know, like what I've been kind of like thinking about lately was like whether Hitler escaped or not. I started thinking about it today because I know Mohammed Boussafar and Karsten Blumvik, they're going to Berlin,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Hey, we're going to Berlin. What should we do?" And then I started thinking about like, because I
Maybe try to find Hitler.
try to find Hitler. It's like, where's Wally? Only with Hitler. Where is he? Is he at this gas chamber? I unleash a do not. Find Hitler. But I went to Berlin. This is like fucking a long time ago. And we did this tour and we went to the place where Hitler supposedly shot himself. And the story is that Hitler was in a bunker. The Russians
With
were
his
coming.
wife or
With
someone?
his wife, Eva Braun, and their kids. And the story is that like they ended up killing themselves and Hitler killed himself, yada, yada, yada. But they never find the bodies.
Yeah, where was the
There's
body?
nothing like that. Apparently, there's a skull that they think is Hitler's skull that the Russians have that they bring out once a year on the anniversary of the Russian invasion or something like that. But then you like end up hearing about all of these German towns in South America, in Argentina, in Uruguay, in Paraguay, in Brazil, and you hear about, you know, that evil Dr. Mengele, Joseph Mengele.
Yeah, he was working in USA, man.
Dude, he died in Brazil. His life
died
ended
in
in Brazil. So, like, one of the worst guys, the fucking bad guy that did all these experiments and torturing people and shit like that, he got out. And a bunch of other dudes got out. You don't think the top guy got out?
Of course, I don't believe he shot himself, man.
Me either.
I'm not into conspiracy theories, but it's like
a little bit.
Yeah,
You're
no,
into a
no,
little
I'm not.
bit.
I was when I was a kid. Like everybody knows about the Illuminati and the eye and the God of Ra and all these things, but you stop believing it when you grow up. But the thing with Hitler, I don't think he killed himself because then they will show the body.
Right. Like with Bin Laden as well.
Yeah,
didn't
I'm pretty
show
sure
the-
they killed Bin Laden.
They didn't
but
show the body, man. They got rid of the body a day
Yeah,
at sea.
yeah,
Maybe they
but-
killed him. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm pretty sure they killed Bin Laden. But the
But
thing
you-
with Hitler is like, there's a lot of conspiracies that he's in Argentina.
I've been to Argentina. I've been to these
Does it
towns.
look like a place Hitler will?
They all have these mustaches. It's the weirdest thing. All these little Mexican, Argentinian kids, they all look like Felix Sakari. Doesn't Felix? He does. He has the Hitler mustache, bro.
But the thing is, even the Nazis, like the big guys, the doctors, the lawyers, and the generals, and all of them, they made a deal with USA.
Oh,
and
yeah, they
They
did.
they went to the USA with a new passport, new identity to work with NASA, FBI, CIA,
Yeah,
because
that's
they had learned a lot
true.
of stuff, and they just made a lot of deal with other countries, so they would.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe,
yeah, maybe. You could-
maybe Hitler was in USA. I don't know.
I don't. Well, that would explain a lot.
Yeah.
You know, because that country turned out to be pretty fucked up, didn't it?
Yeah, but I don't know how you can manage to get people to think like, okay, we're going to kill all the like not the Jews in Germany, but all the Jews. What the how do you do that? How do you make people to go
Yeah.
across country to hunt Jews?
I have the answer.
In Norway?
Yeah, dude. There's a place. Fuck. There's a house, an apartment across the road from where I live, and out the front on the footpath, there's a plaque in the ground, and it says, "This is where this person and this person lived, and they were Jewish." And the Nazis got them in 1944, and they took them to Auschwitz, and they were executed. And that is across the road from my fucking apartment. And
Yeah, it's
I was
pretty
like,
sick,
dude,
man.
that was in Björsen. Like they jacked
Yeah, they had
Jews
a lot of Jews
from
in
Björsen. Dude, they still do, man. You know, come on, finish
just
the
don't
job,
know.
Nazis.
whoa. But
Yeah,
please don't do it.
no, it's a,
The 14-year-old Iranian guy. I don't know him. Please don't come get me.
don't get the
It's dangerous, bro.
It's dangerous, man. But that's like what your
You know,
question
I
is.
went to school in Björsen.
Did
I
you
have-
to
yeah.
Björsen skola?
Yeah, Björsen ungdomsskola, and I had a friend. He was called Mats, and he's a Norwegian guy. He's not Jewish, and his family weren't Jewish either. But he had a great grandfather. I think so. In the 40s, he was writing stuff. He was writing books, and he was a journalist. If I remember correctly, and he wrote some stuff about Nazis, and they just sent him to Auschwitz.
Yeah, man. That's what
He died in Auschwitz.
It might be the same guy. It might be.
Yeah, do you remember his name or the last name?
Nah, dude, I don't remember it. But I'll find out and send you a picture of it today. Because, maybe there's a lot of people, but it was in Björsen.
Yeah. There was some Jewish guys in Björsen in the time, because it wasn't a fancy place when in the old times. Yeah, it becomes a fancy place now. It was like in his time in the prime time of Björsen, there was all the workers would live in Björsen.
Yeah. Fun fact about Björsen as well is that Nokkastrana guy was from Björsen.
Nokasrane? Yeah.
Tosca.
Yeah, Tosca. Yeah, what was his whole name again?
Tommy Tosca? No.
Joseph Tosca. No, I don't remember, man. But Tosca, yeah, I know that guy.
He's from Björsen.
Yeah, he had a film, wasn't he?
Yeah, the Nokkastrana.
Yeah, Nokasrane. Yeah, it was a good film, man.
Yeah, it was really good. Hey, dude, this headphone is fucked. Can you hear me?
I don't hear you from your headphones. I'm not hearing you.
You're not hearing me?
No.
I'm not hearing shit either.
No, because your microphone isn't working. Is
My
it
microphone
what's the
is
problem? What's the problem? My microphone is working. I can hear myself.
But you can't hear me.
No, I cannot hear you. Can you hear yourself?
No, I can't hear myself.
Yeah, what happened, man?
Hold on.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
there we
yeah,
go.
that was the problem.
There we fixed it. Okay. Yeah, but to answer your question about like how they could send people to commit like all these human atrocities, I think they tried to answer that question with the Stanford experiment. You know, you're probably familiar with the Stanford experiment.
maybe.
It's where they
If it's a conspiracy theory, then maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I bet you know it. I bet you know it. But it's where they took all of these college students from Stanford and they put them into a prison.
Yeah,
and they
I know
divided
that
them
one. Yeah, I
into
know
two
that one.
groups. And the people that they said were the prison guards ended up abusing the prisoners because they got told to do so.
Yeah,
and then they
it was a rebel afterwards, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Probably. But then I think they had to shut it down. And then they did another experiment, like pretty similarly, where what they did was they had somebody on the other side of a wall. And I don't think they could see them, but they could hear them. And they asked them questions. And the person, like let's say it was you're hooked up to an electric chair or an electric device. And every time you get a question wrong, you have to punish them. And there was somebody in the room, a scientist, a guy saying, okay, if they get a question wrong, then you need to shock them. And every time they get a question wrong, you got to increase the power. And then they would shock them for getting questions wrong. And the person would be screaming. And they were all acting, but they were screaming and they would go, oh, it hurts so much. Don't shock me. And then they would look at the scientist and the scientist would say, no, keep going, keep going. And even though they could hear that somebody else was in pain and begging them not to stop, because somebody who had authority
told
them, then they did what the authority figure told them to do.
Wow.
And that's where they started to understand all of the human psychology involved behind listening to authority instead of listening to your own moral compass. You know, so that's interesting with people, and you see it all the time.
It's pretty easy to trick people.
So easy to trick people, man. So we get tricked all the time. Or people are getting tricked throughout history all the time. I mean, you get you just like governments that want something. Like here's a perfect example. I know you say you don't believe in conspiracy theories, but like say for example, like
but I don't consider everything as conspiracy theory either.
That's
something
good.
else just like facts to me.
I understand. But like say for example, like the government came out with this lie after 9/11, right? Saying that the Iraqi government had weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, it was a lie.
It was a lie. But people bought it and they were angry and they wanted revenge for the Twin Towers. And the
But do you think 9/11 was an inside job? The irony guy, I'm on your side.
I think 9/11 was an inside job. What do you mean by that?
Like, do you think it was the government who did that? Because the day before the attack on Twin Towers, the National Bank, I don't know what they're called, but they said that like they were missing like $500 million or something from the government. They just didn't know where $500 million went.
No. They were missing like $30 trillion.
Yeah, $30 trillion
from the Pentagon. And the place that got destroyed in the Pentagon was the accounting department. Oh, and we just don't know.
After the news,
yeah, the day after. So I know what you're talking about. So on September 10, there was a spokesperson for the Pentagon who said that we're missing all of this money, like trillions and trillions and trillions. And then the next day, the accounting department of the Pentagon gets hit by a plane.
Yeah.
Isn't that suspicious?
Yeah, it is suspicious.
Isn't that suspicious? And when you have a look at the video of the Pentagon attack, like there's cameras everywhere. You only have one video and you can't see
it's
shit.
Shot with the cheese or something. What the fuck?
Exactly. It's shot with a fucking like a
Fucking block of
potato, bro.
cheese.
Like it's so bad. It's so bad. And that's all you see. But this is what I think to answer your question about September 11th. I think that there are people that are more concerned with making money and global expansion and political power than they are concerned about the human lives of people in Iraq or in their own country. So I think if you're one of these types of, I don't know, like industrialist warmongers, like first of all, if you think how much money America spent on war, it's trillions, bro. And where does that money go? Who gets that money? You know who gets that money? People that are supplying bullets, boots, night vision goggles, surface-to-air missiles, military rations.
And they have to renew it every year because new stuff comes.
And those, exactly. And
they just go to garbage.
dude, you think about how much money war costs. It's trillions of dollars. And there are people in America that make all of that stuff that are making all of that money.
Yeah.
You don't think that they have some kind of a little something in making some things happen? Yeah. So I don't know whether, what the degree of that was or whether they just capitalized on something. But there's a lot of weird shit with 9/11, man. When the only plane that was allowed to leave the next day was the Saudi family. Like Bin Laden's family, like the guy that you suspect. We're just going to let he's the only plane that's allowed to leave.
I think Bin Laden used to work for CIA.
Dude, they sponsored him to fight the Russians. So you think about this. You got like a guy like Osama bin Laden and the Taliban or whatever they were called then, the Afghan people, and you're now arming them with Stinger missiles to take down Russian helicopters so you can wage a proxy war against the Russians in Afghanistan. So you're building a relationship with Osama bin Laden. And then later on, you go, hey, remember Osama bin Laden? We need some shit to happen so that we can make some money. There's a lot of oil in Iraq. We're going to get all these no-bid contracts to construct things. And our guys over here that are lobbying the political system, we got to pay them. So I just don't put it past them. I don't know whether it was an inside job, but if somebody ended up telling me that they ended up helping some things happen so that these guys could make all this cash, then I wouldn't be surprised, man.
The only thing I'm curious about, because I watched the documentary and there was an architect guy who was talking about the way the building fell down.
Tower 7 or one of the towers?
I think it was both of them.
Yeah, okay.
Because they didn't collapse; they just fell straight line downwards, and it's not possible if you don't have bombs in those columns because it has to be a planned bombing, so it would just go downwards. Yeah. But if you come with the plane, then it would just fall to the other side. So that's the only thing I'm curious about.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that, man.
Did you know that Michael Jackson was supposed to be in Twin Towers the day it got attacked?
No.
He just fell asleep, so he had a meeting in Twin Towers. Wow. But the day before that, he talked with his mother whole night on his phone. Yeah. So he just overslept and he missed his meeting.
And that's why it's okay to sleep in, people.
Yeah, but can you imagine? Can you imagine how bigger the world will be if Michael Jackson died in that tower? Yeah. Like that will wipe out the whole Middle East.
Yeah, they'd go crazy. You think Michael Jackson fucked those kids?
Yeah.
You think he did?
Yeah, and I have no doubt. No. Because the thing is like people like to twist the things Michael Jackson says, and the thing with Michael Jackson is I'm very confused about it because. Like when you watch his interviews and like his persona, he's like a small child and he's like a fucking dumb, stupid guy who just talk like a small kid all the time. But when you hear his lyrics, he's like, "Are you genius?" It's like the most genius things I've ever heard in your songs. Yeah. But when you hear interviews and he's like a small kid. Yeah, and you be like, who is the real you? If you know what I mean. Yeah. But the thing with him was he told that kids used to sleep in his bedroom, and we like to imagine that his bedroom is like our bedroom. But I've seen his bedroom, man. It's bigger than my house. Yeah. Yeah. So it's not weird that kids was in his bedroom because it was like a whole new apartment.
But they were in his bed too.
Yeah, that's the weird part.
That's the weird. But you might have the biggest bedroom in the world.
Yeah, but you don't have the biggest bed.
Nah. I just couldn't ever imagine.
Yeah, you have kids, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine them sleeping with
Dude, shut the fuck
King
up.
of Pop.
Yeah, what are you doing? Like you can't do that shit.
No.
Yeah, but if anybody it just seems so weird to say that I want to sleep in the same bed as another kid. It seems like if you want to do that, you don't just want to go to sleep next to a kid. Like you're basically what you're trying to do. Like
you can do it one or two times, like a couple of times, but afterwards, the devil comes up with pretty nasty plans in your head.
I think so, man. And like you're taking this kid to like you're it's like a date. You're like, well, check out this fairy park and let me play with the monkey and let's go on a roller coaster.
And here are some pills.
Exactly. So no, I think you probably fucked those kids too.
Yeah.
What's interesting though is there's that Norwegian guy, you know, Omar Bati.
Omar Bati?
Yeah.
Yeah, what about him?
Dude, he was one of those kids.
What? Huh?
Listen, I'm gonna Google this. Just
you have to Google this
just
one.
to
You
make
have to
sure
Google this
I'm
one.
not fucking.
The terrorist from Norway?
Oh no, not the terrorist from. Is that the terrorist?
Yeah, Omar Bati.
Oh,
He's a terrorist.
okay. Well, not him. He didn't. Dude, there was this guy. He's a dancer, and he went over to, America. No, it's Omar Bati, bro.
Can I see a picture of
Yeah,
him?
of course. This guy.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I remember okay. Yeah, I have the wrong guy.
Yeah, so he is okay. Listen, Omar Michael Jamal Bati, better known by his stage name OB, is a Norwegian rapper and dancer, also known for his association with Michael Jackson in 2014. So he went. Well, I think he must. Maybe he wasn't a little kid then, but he was kind of like caught up with this whole Michael Jackson thing, and I think is my microphone working?
Yeah, it's working.
And I think he said that like Michael Jackson didn't fuck him.
Yeah, but he was an ugly kid, man.
yeah, he's an ugly kid, dude. Holy shit!
If I was a pedophile, I wouldn't fuck him either, man.
no, man, fuck that guy. I'm gonna put my dick in you, bro.
Yeah, but wouldn't you like a little bit bitterness in you if like Michael Jackson fucked all of your friends and you were like, what is it?
Man.
I'm glad you didn't touch me, but what was the reason, man?
Why aren't you moonwalking to my bed?
Why did you hee on my balls?
Yeah, holy shit. Dude, how's your comedy going?
His comedy is going well, man. I'm doing a lot of shows and now I'm doing comedy full time now, and I have done it in like a few months now, and it's going well.
When you say you're doing comedy full time, that means that you're making enough money from comedy where you don't have to do any other job. Is that right?
I make enough money from comedy.
Good.
But I'm poor, so I don't make money. I just have enough to just live by.
Perfect. That's like the best place.
Yeah, I'm in a very comfortable place now where I can make money from my own jokes.
You know what, man? This is what I think, right? And first of all, I'm very happy for you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I'm very, very, very happy for you.
Yeah, we have known each other since I was 17. Wow.
I think so. It's been a while. Yeah,
Yeah,
you slept in my bed that once.
Why didn't you touch me? Why didn't you touch me?
But what I was going to say is I think you're in the perfect position now as a comedian because you're still poor and you're still struggling and you're still hungry. But you're making enough money that you can focus all of your energy into comedy. And I think that period of time, because this is what I believe about you. You're undoubtedly going to be a fucking monster, huge, successful comedian.
Yeah, thanks, man.
No problem. But
Yeah.
you can't fall into that trap of when you are really successful and you have a lot of money of losing that sense of hunger that you have now. Because what you have now is that like, I'm really going for it and I'm struggling financially and I'm poor. That's when I'm making my best fucking shit. It's like the rapper that drops the first album whilst they still live in the hood. That's the album that ends up being better than the album after they release, when they sell Beats by Dre and they move to Beverly Hills.
Yeah, you cannot make beats when you have golden chains, man.
When you're making like a fucking $50 million a year, your albums aren't as good. But now,
because I don't need it.
Exactly. And now you're like in this perfect position where you're not selling donuts, you're not doing anything else. You can just work on the comedy, but you're still kind of struggling. And I think that moment in time for you is like where you're going to end up producing some of the jokes that people are going to fucking reference forever.
Yeah, I hope so, man. Because I remember when I was doing comedy for the first time, it was like when I was 18 or 19. It was when I decided to do comedy, like I was like, when I decided to do it the whole time, it was the first week of Corona. So I couldn't do anything. So I dropped out of school. I was about to study architecture in another city, and I just dropped out of it. And and it was in Oslo. And my father was like, "Yeah, you're not studying, and you think the life is good when you just wake up in my bed, eat my food, and just go out for 5 minutes and tell some jokes and come back with no money in your pocket." So he was like, "You have to get a job." So I had to work on days and in the mornings, and at nights I would go to clubs and do comedy. You remember like the Steiners Open Mic, the Henriken,
Yeah.
yeah, those shitty places.
Yeah. Legendary.
So I was doing it all the time. I was working early in the morning, and after job I would maybe sleep like 1 or 2 hours, and would just go out to clubs and try to do 5 minutes of comedy. And that was my everyday. So it has been like 2 years now, and I'm glad that I started to make some money, and like the other comedians are now, uh, they know who we're becoming friends, and that's the beauty of it.
Mm.
So you're making friends in the comedy community, and you're just having fun all the time. So
It's the
it's a
best.
place to be.
It's where you belong.
But it's pretty weird thing about that is like when you first start making money from comedy, it's like monopoly money. If you know, it's like game. It's like a game to you. You're like, oh, I'll talk for 5 minutes, and you're going to give me like 7,000, and you just think like it's like a free money, so you don't have any problem spending it to some bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have that problem now. I'm trying to not do it because when someone gives me money for stand up, I'm like, I was doing it for free before, so it's just like some bonus, if you know what I mean. So I would just spend it for some stupid shit all the time.
Let's get some Pokemon cards, bro.
Yeah, yeah. I was never that Pokemon guy, man.
No.
Yeah, I never watched Pokemon.
Dude, how much money do you make doing stand up then?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can say it, but it's like enough for me to. I live with my family now, but
Yeah.
if I decided to move out, then I have enough money to pay my rents and eat food and pay my bills and
Okay.
live
so-
live comfortably.
So you could make enough money just doing stand up to afford rent and buy food and
Yeah.
pay your phone bill and get the bus
Yeah,
tickets
that's all.
and shit like
And
that.
after that, I don't have money.
Gotcha. All right, so that's perfect. That's good. Yeah.
So I'm in that place where I can feed myself, but no.
but it's
no
still
one other.
still
Yeah.
still noodles a couple of nights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, it's noodles a few days.
Yeah,
and I have enough money.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. That's perfect, man. I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah. And I know that like what are you doing? I saw this ad for like a new show.
Postkontoret?
No. Stories?
Stories?
Yeah, are you doing a story show?
Yeah.
Haragraya.
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 Yeah, because I say it's like a long set. I did a show a few months ago where I did 40 minutes.
Yep.
And it went well, so I spoke to Inia, Inia scene, and I was like, "Can I get a day where I can make a show?" And they gave me a day, 16. Juni.
Mm-hmm.
And because the reason it's called Haragraya is because I say Haragraya all the time when I'm start to tell a joke. So it will be a like storytelling where I will be telling a lot of stories that I've told before.
Yeah.
So it will be I don't want to call it a solo show because it's not a show. It's just like all my jokes I have done before just put together, and now I have 40-minute sets
Yeah.
that I'm going to do.
Cool.
So I'm excited, man.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's good. And I like that it's like you don't make a big deal out of it. Like it's not a big solo show. It's just fucking some shit that you've done and put it together and have fun and don't put that pressure on.
Just for fun.
Yeah.
It's not a solo show.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's
so I'm
really
pretty
cool.
excited. I hope it goes well, so I can do it more often.
Dude, I've been thinking this for a while when it comes to like stories is like the amount of like investment you can get from the audience and the big payoff with the laughter with stories is huge. Like
Yeah,
that's like good stories in comedy is like, oh, they're the best.
Yeah, that's what I like about comedy, man. Is storytelling. I'm happy with all the time. Like the more a joke is constructed, the more I am unhappy with the joke. Like the more perfect a joke is, to me, is not a good joke, because you take the human thing out of it. You take the soul out of the joke. It's like it's like pretty constructed joke, and you have like you decide to say every word, and you just construct it in a way that ChatGPT would, if you know what I mean. It's like take out all the unnecessary words, and you just take all the human factors out of a joke, and it becomes boring. That's why I like Dave Chappelle or Jonas Josef or Dag Sørås, those guys, because they have stories to tell, and they're not like Springfield.
Yep.
Because he's telling every word is written before.
Do you mean Seinfeld?
Yes, Seinfeld. Sorry.
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said Springfield.
Yes.
That's where Bart Simpson lives.
Yes, Springfield. What the fuck?
I knew who you meant.
Yeah,
I knew who you meant. I just wanted to double check.
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld. But he used to construct like every word, and to me it's a little bit boring.
Yeah.
It's like watch a robot play football.
But is part of the art for some people having it constructed perfectly, but just making it sound like you'd kind of just thought of it on the spot?
Yeah, but even then I can respect that, because they're not taking the human part out of it. They're just putting it in a more human, perfect way.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I've seen that. When was it? Maybe it was with Kevin Hart. Maybe it was a Kevin
Hart was much funnier before.
Exactly. It was with Kevin Hart twice. I saw him once in Oslo.
Yeah, the show in Oslo. You know why it was ass? He was in Valhalla, right?
No, it was the one before that.
Yeah.
But I heard the Valhalla one as well wasn't awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't awesome, because right before he was going on stage, he got a call, and one of his very good friends had died.
Yeah.
And right after that call, he had to go up stage, and that's why that show was ass.
Yeah, okay. You should never answer your phone.
Yeah, don't answer your phone 5 minutes before your solo show.
Are you fucking kidding?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
What a stupid thing to do.
Why would you call Kevin Hart? And what's he doing now? Oh, he's probably gonna go on stage. Should we tell him?
Yeah.
No. Why didn't listen? He's going on stage in 5 minutes in front of 50,000 people. Well, let's call him in an hour. What possible? Like, you can't give somebody bad news like that.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad thing to do, man. I was pretty excited for that show, and it just sucked, man.
But guess what? I went to the show at Oslo Spectrum, and that fucking sucked too. Maybe other people experienced it better, but I thought his warm-up act were better than him. And
yeah, he has like 8 warm-ups.
Dude, they were good. They had these dudes called the Red Cup Boys or something.
Yeah, Plastic Cup Boys.
And they murdered, and I was into it. And then he came on, and it was this polished. This is my setup. This is my punchline. This is my setup. This is my punchline. I'm so cool. Check out my punchline. Shut the fuck up. And then I saw something else that he did as well, which was a special on Netflix it was during the pandemic at his house.
Yeah, it was an experiment.
It was an experiment, but I wasn't into it.
No,
and I felt like that sounds like a laugh track, and maybe I didn't like it because all the people were wearing masks, I don't think the comedy didn't feel like, I don't know, man.
But there's something with Kevin Hart I like the way he's telling stories is like so breathtaking, because he's so good at telling stories.
Yeah, but you know where he's the best at telling stories is in interviews and podcasts.
Yeah, on TV shows, man.
Yeah, but I feel like that supports what you're saying, is that when it just is coming from your head and you're just thinking of it then and there, it's not this polished, here's the setup and the punchline in the story, and then my wife came in with it. It's not that. It's just like I'm talking to you like a fucking human. Yeah.
That's where the excitement comes from. But I don't like to see like the world star comedians in Norway, because they just do it like it's an open mic, because they don't care. It's like a small country in Scandinavia called Norway. Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? It's like it's like, okay, 2,000 people. Okay, I do big arenas in USA with like 60,000 people. So a few thousand people is nothing to them. So it's like, okay, I will just meet up at Spectrum and just try to make some new stuff.
But in a way, I like that too. Because in a way, it's not as polished. Like when Louis C.K. Did you see the Louis C.K. show last year?
No, I was at another show.
Okay.
I was at Hangover. I took over Hangover.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember.
When it was Louis C.K.
Yeah. Okay. But his show was not like super polished, and he was still kind of working shit out. But I liked seeing that because it was a little bit of the opposite of that, like polished, every word is perfect part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I liked seeing that. And somebody who came to Oslo in 2019, which really blew my way and was one of my favorite comedians, is Jim Jeffries.
Jim Jeffries.
Yeah, and I think he's coming back in
the
May.
Britain guy?
No, he's from Australia.
He's from
Australia.
Yeah, Jim Jeffries. Yeah.
Jim Jeffries is a fucking beast. Yeah.
He's going to Stavanger, I guess.
I hope so, but I know he's at least
beast,
he's at
man.
least
He's
coming to
a
Oslo,
beast.
and he's one of those dudes where you go, damn, you fucking killed that, son. He murdered
he's a
it.
badass, man.
He's badass.
He's pretty dark too.
Really dark. You know what? That's
What's the deal with him and woman, man?
Dude, he's a fucking, I don't know. He's a fuck up. He's a fuck up. He can't make it work. You know, he's a fucking.
You can see it in him, like you're a
course.
fucked up guy. You're pretty funny, but
You're hilarious. But
I'm glad you're not in my family.
he's
you know what I mean?
a broken person, you know.
Yeah. Like I'm glad I can just sit down and listen to you for 2 hours and have nothing to do with you.
Yeah. Dude, I want to talk to you about this concept that I've been experimenting around with lately. I did this show at Vestly, right?
Yeah.
With you.
Yeah, I was there, man.
Yeah, that's right. With you. And when I looked at Vestly, I was like, this is kind of like in the middle of fucking nowhere. It's at the end of the
Yeah, you
turbine
came to
linear.
Wesley and was like, yeah, there was a pretty poor place to live. And I was like, I'll live right the next building. I live there.
Yes. Yeah. So I just kept on thinking it's a really poor place at a really poor pub with really poor people. So then I dressed really poor. I'm not rich myself, but I put on like yoghurt and
I remember that.
Yeah, so I kind of looked like pretty trashy. I didn't brush my hair or anything. And then I went up on stage and I fucking did well.
Yeah, you killed it, man.
Killed it.
Yeah, you killed it.
But
You just started with like, yeah, I'm poor too, motherfucker.
Yeah. Do a fati. You're poor. And it was really fun. And then I kind of and then I did a show straight after that. I went to Vespa or whatever and I had to do a show there. And I didn't get changed. I just kept looking like poor, like a yoga book.
Yeah.
Basically what I look like now. And that went really well too. And then like I started thinking to myself, like, if you're going on stage, if you break it down, you can have like two types of personas. And I'm fundamental. You can play like high status or low status.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you get dressed up and you're like Kevin Hart, you can play high status. Like Jim Jeffries sometimes plays low status. What I did at Vesely was playing low status, you know, like looking kind of like a bum and fucking around. When I do low status, man, I get such
People laugh more, don't they?
They laugh more.
Because they can look down on you. And that's what they don't understand with comedy. Humans are psychopaths, man. They want people to look down on so they can laugh. That's why we laugh at people who fell down on the stairs, because like, you stupid fuck, you just fell down the stairs. That's why I'm laughing at you.
Yeah.
And that's why they laugh at our jokes when we make fun of ourselves.
Yeah.
Because we give them all the power to be
Yeah.
like, you're a bigger person than me and you can laugh at me.
Yeah. That is exactly what happens. It's exactly what
So
happens.
you have to be the biggest loser in the room. And
Yeah.
that's when they laugh at you.
That is when they laugh at you, because I could tell the same joke in the exact same way. And if I'm wearing like a nice shirt or a blazer and good pants and shoes, it's not going to hit as hard as if I'm wearing training pants and a hoodie with a stain on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy how that different status affects how people receive and perceive you and your comedy.
Yeah, it's a weird stuff, man. The thing with comedy is people think it's a very like easy thing. They just think we get up on stage and make up a story about how I got beaten, how I got a beating from my dad when I was 13. Like, it's not. It's a constructed. It's a story I work with like several hours. And people just think like, I just got up on stage and I was just like, yeah, bobbity bibbity whoop, and here comes the punchline, and just they don't know the hard work of writing jokes and reading people and become a part of the culture in the country that you live in.
Yeah, but you know what? I keep that illusion for them. For them. I when I'm talking to people, they go, "What are you gonna?" Sometimes I'll meet a friend in the audience, and he'll say, "Like, what are you gonna talk about tonight?" I go, "Bro, I actually have no idea."
Yeah, but you have an idea.
I have a very good idea. I have a very good idea. Like a lot of the times, though, like I have like, let's say I have like 50 jokes, right? I got 50 jokes, whatever. Sometimes I'll just like, you know what? I'm gonna go with these 3, and then I'm gonna take this one, and then you know what? I got this one, and now we're kind of in this, and I might go in that direction. So the set list that I have is not always really planned out. And I have so many jokes that I can do in both languages. So sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'll start in Norwegian and then I'll do this maybe I'll try that in English tonight. Yeah. So there is like this element of like not really having it all structured, which I think keeps it alive for me. But when like somebody is saying like, what are you going to do? Like sometimes I really do feel like I have no idea what I'm going to say until I open my mouth. And when I have that mentality, it goes better. For me, it goes so much better.
Yeah, because you live in the moment.
Exactly.
Because people think stand-up comedy is a monologue. Because you're the only one talking. You're the only one with the microphone. But people don't come to understand that it's a dialogue between you and the audience.
It really is. Yeah, it's a dialogue.
Just because they don't speak doesn't mean they're not part of it.
Exactly. And you have a look at like how much percentage of all communication is verbal, like with words. It's like 20%.
Yeah, did you know that like the first 3 seconds people decide to like you or not like you? And I've seen I was at Josefines for 2 weeks ago and watched the new beginners night. People was doing stand-up for the first time, and there was a guy who went up on stage, and the first sentence he was just like, "Hi ladies and bitches," and that was the only thing he said before he started his set. But the people didn't like that joke at all, so he just bombed just because of that joke. So it took him 2 seconds
to fuck up the rest
of his set. People didn't want to hear the rest of it because he said, "Hi, ladies and bitches."
Yeah. You got to be careful. Yeah. Do you have an opening line that you use a lot?
No, not actually. No, I don't have one, man. I just like to go up on stage and just start because the most exciting thing for me is like when you sitting with your friend and suddenly a third friend comes in and he just shuts in with an exciting story. It's like, you don't know what happened yesterday. That's always the funniest. That's always the best way to get in a story. So I don't have like smooth ways to get in the story. I just start to speak, and I just come to realize that people are there to hear funny stuff. So I have already a setup before I got on stage. People are here to see me doing stand-up, and they know that I'm going to tell jokes. So I don't need to go up on stage and be like, okay, it's very nice to be here, and you guys know why I am here. I'm going to tell some jokes now, and the first joke goes like this. So I don't need to tell it because it's like already there.
Yeah.
So I don't have to say it. I just start to tell the joke like, guess what happened yesterday, and I just go with it.
Yeah. You just get to the point.
Yeah, because you don't
start the party. Let the party start.
Yeah, let the party starting.
We're at the party. I don't need to tell you whether at a party. We're at a party.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a good point.
There was a book. It was a book in. I think it was a British woman who wrote about comedy. She was saying that there is only 11 types of jokes.
Yeah.
So we have been telling the same jokes all over again in like several thousand years.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because she was telling that it's just only 11 ways to make jokes, and that's all we are doing.
Yeah,
and that's all we are going to do.
Not me, bro. I'm gonna make the 12th type. That's my job, bro. I'm gonna make that book.
I'm here to change the game, bro.
They're actually gonna need to write another chapter, bitch.
But that's that. You know, I know that you're joking with me right now, but there's a problem in comedy too.
Oh,
And especially with the foreigner guys,
Mm.
like people who come from another countries,
Right.
they have a bigger ego, and just because people in their culture is funnier than Norwegian people,
Yeah.
they personally think that they're funnier than Norwegian people too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of guys who be like, yeah, man, I'm fucking funny, man.
Mm.
And the second I got up on stage, they would just be pissing on their pants because I'm so funny. I met a guy who is just like, yeah, I don't have a set. And I was like, what are you going to talk about? I was like, I don't know. It's up here, man. The second I go up on stage, it's enough to make them pee in their pants. I was like, how do you get that ego, man?
Yeah. That's like people who think that they know how to fight, but they don't train.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm one of them, man. I think I can fight, but I think I can fight, but I don't know.
Fuck somebody up.
Yeah.
Oh, you got any training?
I got it when I was 12.
But it's the same thing. The same thing that, but you know what? That's the thing with dudes. It's all dudes. Dudes think that they can fight and they think that they're funny. And if you don't have it figured out, all the dudes. Yeah.
They'll be starting podcast all the time.
They're starting podcast all the time. They're training jiu-jitsu.
When I started comedy for first time, I was like, yeah, I need to do a podcast. And me and my two friends did a podcast. And after 3 episodes, I was like, this is the shittiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So we had to just cut it off.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is you have to enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
You have to enjoy it. You know, I love the podcast.
Yeah,
I
but
love it.
this is not a humor podcast. Just it's like it's like a conversation. We just sit and talk, and that's all.
I think
we're not doing a podcast. It's more like an interview.
Yeah,
it's just like a conversation.
It's more like if you and me were. It's like if we were driving to like Lillehammer to do a set.
Yeah.
And we're in the car, and I picked you up. This is the conversation.
This would be the conversation.
This is the exact thing we would have.
And that's the beauty of this podcast. It's like we don't have a theme to talk about. We just have a conversation and we just have fun and we just go home afterwards.
We're just flowing with it. Yeah. And you know what else I really like about the podcast is what I like. It really makes me like the people that I'm talking to more. Like I get to know the people.
Yeah, because now you have reason to ask me like my political views and my stories and all of that stuff, and I'm more interested in telling it because I know that you're using a lot of time to set up this studio and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So it just gives us a bigger chance to speak with each other.
And this is what I also get as well. Like I get to really understand so much more about comedy by talking to people about their views on specific subjects. Like when you're telling me your views about comedy, I'm like going, oh yeah, that's true. Oh, it is like that. You know what I mean? So I and it's obviously it's one of the things that I love. There are a few things I love more in the world than comedy. So hearing from people who love comedy as well and hearing like what they think and their perspectives, it's like it's like the greatest gift in the world.
Yeah. I know what you mean. But the thing with comedians is like we're a lonely group of people.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. We just like to talk to comedians all the time. And we don't like to talk with anyone else. We just enjoy our company. And we like to talk about comedy all the time. Even if we don't know a lot of things about comedy. Like I'm not the one to talk about comedy all the time. And I don't know that much about comedy. But you know, it's just still fun to sit down and talk about comedy and humor in all day because
you're passionate about it.
Yeah, I'm passionate about it. And that's
what
what all the comedians are. It's just like we're so passionate about it that we want to talk about it all the time.
Talk about it forever.
Just with the people who does the same.
Yeah.
And that's what makes us a little bit lonelier than other people.
Yeah. I still like, you know what? I like talking to other people about things that they're passionate about. Like if let's just say like you and me were friends in another life and you ended up being an architect. And if we had this exact same podcast, I was like, tell me about that building you're designing.
Yeah.
Wow, dude, you've got the contract to redesign that's dope. Oh, let me see the model. I would be interested in that too.
You know, I wanted to become an architect before I was doing comedy.
Yeah.
And after high school, I went to like the art, design, and architecture high school.
Okay.
That's what it was called.
Yeah.
So I was there like 3 years, and I learned how to draw, how to make designs, and how to use computer to make 3D designs and all the stuff. And after high school, I lied on my resume
Yeah.
and
Classic.
got a job in an architectural bureau.
Good.
So I worked with them like a few months,
Yeah.
and it's the most boring job I have ever done in my life.
Yeah.
Because I had a British guy, it was a Norwegian guy who had a PhD in architecture, but he had been studying in England in Britain. He took a PhD in Britain and came back to Norway to work with architecture, and I worked with him a few months. But the thing with him was like he was pretty boring. He was one of the most boring people I have ever seen in my life. But every day, like in lunch break, he will go out, and after 15 minutes he will come back, and he would be like most exciting people I have ever seen. And I didn't know anything before, so it took me like 2 months to find out that every lunch break, every day he goes out, take coke, and comes back.
Shit, why doesn't he just take it in the morning and be exciting all day?
That's what I was wondering too. Like,
Yeah,
why are you boring like 4 hours?
Yeah, you
You're
could be.
unbearable in 4 hours, and you just go out and come back like the most funniest guy I've ever met.
Yeah.
And you just
Dude,
and you're just sniffing all the time. And
take the
having
coke for breakfast. Take the coke for lunch. I don't want to be listening to your boring stories. Entertain me, bitch.
I went to leader of like the bureau, and there was like 3 people working there: the architect guy, the accountant, and the chief. He was engineer, and he was the chief of all this, all of these things. And I went to him. And I was like, "Why is this so boring until 12?" And he becomes the most exciting people I have ever seen after 12. And he's like, "Yeah," he goes and buys coke and comes back. So that's why he's exciting. And he's 60 plus.
Yeah.
He's over 60, and he has a Porsche.
Yeah.
He has a Porsche car. So every lunch he just goes out, hops in his Porsche, drives to somewhere, buy some coke, get back. And funniest day I have ever had.
Dude, what a legend. What a legend.
Yeah, he was a legend, man.
Gets in his Porsche, vroom, 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 sniffs some coke.
Money.
Let's go. Shit, I'm glad you're not an architect, man.
Yeah,
I'm
me too, man.
really glad you're not an architect. And you know, when I talk to people on the podcast and they always said, I was going to be this, I was going to be that. I was like, dude, that would have fucking killed you on the inside.
Yeah, man.
You would have been dead on the inside. You would have been like designing things that, whatever, you don't give a
Look,
fuck
I like
about.
designing things. I still do. I like to draw some stuff.
But the way that you can express yourself through a building is nowhere near the same way you can express yourself at a 40-minute show.
Yeah,
at
and
Miro.
architecture is the biggest hoax I have ever seen, man. They're like 90% of architects. Did you know that 90% of architects doesn't even get the chance to build anything?
Oh my God. No, I had no idea. No idea.
There's even people that their work is just like paperwork. They just
Gotcha.
they don't design anything.
No.
And I have a friend, and his mom is an architect. You know what her job is?
No.
There's old architects. They don't know how to use computers, so they just draw it on paper. And her job is to draw it on computer.
Yeah, they should at least make her go out and buy the cocaine.
Yeah.
Like, now you got to put the drawings into a computer and get this guy coke.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, come on.
So
She could do more than
it's pretty
that.
boring. And
Yeah, that sucks.
and they just like to make architecture an elite thing. Like,
Dude, I can do architecture in Minecraft. It's not that
yeah,
hard.
fuck that shit, man. Yeah, everybody can do it, man.
Yeah. But I'm glad that you decided to do comedy.
Yeah, me too, man. But not my father. He's not happy. Every day he was like, when I come home late from a gig,
He's still not happy?
he's happy with the choices I made, and he's happy that I work hard for a life I want to have. But he still comes to me and is like, yeah, man, if you didn't drop out of school, you would be an architect now. Did you know that? I was like, yeah, that's the reason I dropped out.
Oh man, well listen, if your dad is listening, I'm sure that he's gonna kick your ass when you get home.
Yeah, yeah, he doesn't listen to my podcast, man. He don't. I'm pretty sure he won't listen to that.
Dude, I'm glad I got to meet your dad. I think I told you about
he's
it.
a badass, isn't he?
Yeah, he looks fucking like he's a fucking
Yeah.
beast. Yeah.
He can fight.
Yeah, I bet
he can fight for sure, man.
I bet he can fuck people up.
I have seen him fight before.
Yeah.
I can assure you, he can. And the funny thing is, he grew up in a village. They didn't have technology. They didn't have phones. They didn't have internet. They didn't have computers. And he can do karate, good stuff. You know,
Bruce
he can
Lee shit.
fight. Yeah, Bruce Lee shit.
Yeah.
And I asked him. I was like, you didn't go to any fight clubs. You didn't have internet. How the fuck would you learn how to do karate in a small village in Kurdistan? He was like, yeah, I watch a lot of Bruce Lee films. I was like, well, I did it too. I did the same. I cannot fuck up a guy.
Nah.
I watched all the Bruce Lee films. I watched even Jackie Chan movies.
Yeah.
And Ipley and all those stuff. I watched it all.
Yeah.
I can't even throw a punch, man.
Nah, but maybe your dad is just a lot more physically gifted than you, bro.
Yeah, but he was dedicated, man. He liked to fight because he grew up in the one of the most dangerous cities in Turkey.
Yeah.
So he had to fight every day.
That counts a lot.
You know, every time my father comes to me and he was like, let me tell you a story. And it always starts with, so that the one time I kicked that one's ass.
Yeah.
Every story starts with, the one time I had to fight this guy to be able to come home.
Yeah, it's a different time, man. There's
Yeah, it
people
was a
back
different
then,
time.
and those like were that part of the world in that time, fucking 30 years ago. Whoa,
Yeah,
dude.
he was,
Not
and
bullshit.
he was a small guy, man. He's not a huge guy. He's like as tall as me.
Yeah,
He's not a huge guy. He's not jacked.
yeah,
But he's small and he's very fast.
yeah. You know, when I met your dad, I think it was at this joke factory in Inia or something. Like,
Yeah,
he came up to me
Last week.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's told me.
He came up to me, and I before like he even said anything, I noticed him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I noticed the way
Yeah,
he
he
moves.
has- he has that-
he kind of
Has
like
the character.
like it's like somebody I go, oh, this guy knows how to move.
Yeah,
he
this
moves
guy
like
fucks, man.
he moves like a cobra about to fuck another snake.
Do you know what he told me when he was a kid?
What did he tell you, bro?
He used to tell me a lot of fucked up shit, bro.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, I would watch Bruce Lee films all the time, and he didn't have anything to do. He just had school. He didn't have any job. He didn't have technology. He didn't have money to do anything else. So he was just like, he would lock himself in the room, and he would just train all day, like try to learn how to fight
Yeah.
every day, every time. And he used to, the way he trained was like, they didn't have any lift stuff.
Like no weights or anything.
Yeah, there wasn't any weight. So he would just like, he would get his backpack, he would throw rocks on the backpack and tape rocks on his legs and arms and shit, and would just run in the village like the madman in the village.
Yeah, what a psycho.
Yeah, he looked like a fucking psycho, but he had he had the muscles, and he learned how to fight, and he was a dangerous man.
Yeah, what a badass.
Yeah.
I liked hearing about people like that have nothing, and then they just fucking, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
I'm
dude,
gonna
he
tape
started with nothing. He told me that he came to Norway with 1,000 kroners.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I came to a new country with 1,000 kroners, after 3 days I would go back home,
Yeah.
because how do you make money when you have 1,000 kroners in your pocket and
Yeah.
doesn't know anyone?
No, it's crazy, man. There's a lot of stories
Yeah.
like that, though, right? People around the world just gotta make it work. Where you come from, you don't want to go back.
No.
Where you land, make it work. 1,000 kroners and go, motherfucker.
Yeah, and he made it work, man.
Yeah,
he made it
yeah,
work.
yeah.
Yeah, he worked pretty hard for us to come to Norway with him. After he was in Norway 10 years, and we moved to Norway afterwards.
Oh, he
So
had
he
to
worked
be here first by himself.
Yeah. So he worked pretty hard so that
Yeah.
we could come to Norway and have a great future. And guess what I tried to do now? dropped out of school to tell
You
jokes.
fucking
Yeah.
loser. He came all the way over here, 10 years with 1,000 kroner in his pocket, just so you can tell jokes at Nya? You
Yeah,
fucking asshole. You should be designing bridges and making factories and building art galleries as an architect. What the fuck are you doing with your life with this joke bullshit?
But I had to speak to him about that all the time.
Of course.
I remember after high school, I told him like I can't do it, and I proved to him that I could study architecture if I wanted to, because I searched schools, I came and I got accepted to schools. I could study in Germany or in Turkey or in Norway. I could do architecture, and I just told him like, you know that I can do it if I want to, and I got accepted to school, but I don't want to do it. I
Fuck
just told
that.
him. I just told him I want to do comedy,
Yeah.
and he said, "You got 1 year. You have to make it work." And 6 months after that, I was on TV. I had a TV gig, and that helped me a lot to convince my father that it could be a future I could have.
Yeah.
So I had this TV gig, and I worked in radio a little bit, and I started to have a lot of gigs, and that's when he was like, "Okay, you know what you're doing."
Yeah.
So he stopped saying stuff all the time. But it's like the fatherly. He's my father, so he has to come with the reality to me all the time. He's like, "Yeah, but you know, if you was an architect, you could have a job, fast job.
Yeah.
You could have a full-time job."
Yeah. I get it. My dad wanted me to be a dentist.
Really?
Yeah.
And what did you become?
A fucking loser. He was right. I should have been a dentist. Now all I'm doing is telling dick jokes and having fucking podcasts and shit.
But isn't it like, okay, I don't know how much money you're making, but I'm pretty sure that if someone gave you like twice or triple more money than you make now and just told you like, be a dentist, you wouldn't say yes to that, would you?
Never. I don't do it for the money.
No, right?
I do it for the pussy.
Aren't you married, man? You're married, man. Shame on you, bro.
Sorry, babe.
Sorry,
I do it for your pussy. No, but I would never give it up for any amount of money.
No, because that's why people don't understand. They think like we're doing it for money, and so they always be like, okay, but you can make more money if you do something else. So to them, it's like it's a logical response.
Yeah,
like
but
you can make more money if you're a dentist.
Yeah.
because you're doing it for money. And
You know
I was
what?
like, I'm not doing it for money.
That's a huge problem with like human society because they don't measure things in happiness.
Yeah.
They measure things in monetary value. And that's not really the best way to measure how you should spend your life. How happy you are
You know
doing
how
what
happy
you
I
love.
am now?
Yeah.
I don't have any money, but I am very happy right now. I don't have to work 8 hours a day. I don't have a boss. I don't have to wake up early in the morning. I can just take my computer and write stuff I like to do. And that's all I do. I just write stuff all the time and use my creativity to make my days go.
Yeah.
And I can do whatever I want whenever I want. And that's the beauty of it. That's the comfort of it. And of course the acceptance you get from the society, like they give you money because they think you're funny, and you think you're funny, and you get that acceptance because people are willing to give you money, and that's a whole another happiness that gives you, and that gives you a lot more reasons to do more comedy, because you feel accepted, and people feel like you have a story to tell, and you have an acceptance, and it's important for people that you are there to tell those stories. And that's what I like about it. Because comedy before was like, yeah, what's the deal with airports and punchline. But now the comedy has changed a lot, because you have to be that political figure or moral ethical figure figure that the rest of the society isn't allowed to talk about.
Mm.
So you can say a lot of things on stage, and you can use your voice to speak about many other things that no one is allowed to speak about. And that's what I like about comedy. So you're just the madman in the village. If you understand what I mean. It's just like you can do whatever you want because you're the madman.
Yeah.
You just lost it.
You're the fool in the king's court.
Yeah. You can do whatever you want, and you can be whoever you want, and that's the beauty of it. You can be yourself. You don't have to be a dentist. You don't have to be a lawyer. You don't have to be an architect. You can just be yourself, and if it's good enough, it will work. So
You know
that's
what?
what I like about it.
I think that's a good way to end the podcast, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me here, man.
No problem, bro. I'm a big fan, and I'm a good friend, and I really enjoy the time that we get to hang out together.
Me too, man. It was nice to see you.
Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, big kiss. Bye. Mwah.
Mwah.
Good times, man.
Yeah.
Good times.